Okay, I thought I'd do something a little bit different this time. So I played a gig this week for Wonkystuff, who they put on, well, amongst other things, they put on gigs that kind of the noisy, synthy kind of experimental stuff, and they also they have a house band. They do this kind of stuff, and they do hardware. And I've over the last over the last quite a few months, about probably a year or more. I've occasionally chatted to them about some of the stuff I do at some of the events I've been at, and so this week I bought this, which is the Core1 or the DR1A drone machine, which is I think their first, or certainly one of their first builds that they've released, their first kits. So it does say on here that this is a prototype. So I guess we'll keep that in mind as we go. But I thought it'd be interesting to look at it, look at the kit, and build it, and then have a listen. So it came like this. Well, nice thank you. You're welcome. So the build instructions are there's a link to the build instructions, but everything. No, I will have to pull them up because the components are labelled, but the values aren't. So this is the board. Wonkystuff Core1, and I believe from conversations I've had that these were done at the same place I get mine. That's cool. I like that it's got that they've actually put a kind of logo on it, and they're also numbered the boards. So what it's going to be? These are going to be 4 pots that control various elements of the sound. There'll be an output over here, and there's going to be 2 chips on it. One is an op amp that is just configured as a filter, probably a low pass filter, just to affect the output slightly, and then it uses a microcontroller, which is in here, which is programmed with the kind of sound generating software, I guess. I think from reading the website, which I did have up on my screen, and then I've let it go. I think the idea is possibly that you can, to allow you to reprogram the this chip and easily swap it in and out. That's why it's on the back, so that even when this is mounted on a panel, you can still get the chip out. I'll post the link to the website and everything. I will chuck a load of links up in the description. So let's see what else we've got. I believe this is a full kit, so I've got a little business card. That's quite cute. A battery box. Now, thinking about it, I'm not sure if I've got any AAA batteries, but it's fine. I can probably power it from an Arduino, maybe. I'll figure that out. I've got a 5-volt regulator. I think I was told it runs on 5 volts. The documentation actually says 4.5 volts. So I hope I'm not going to fry anything. We'll see what happens. So there's the 2 ICs in there. So that's an MCP 6002, which is the op amp, and that is a tiny 8.5, which is the microcontroller. I'm just going to tip these out onto my really tidy desk. So let's see, we've got 3 resistors of different values, I think. Yeah, so I'll need to make sure to actually read the instructions. 4 capacitors. Oh, well, four little capacitors and an electrolytic. So these are also different values, so yeah, I absolutely will need to read the instructions. So that's a 1 nanofarad, and that's going I assume that's a kind of, that's to decouple the output, because it's going here, and it seems to be coming from this op amp. We've got output, mini jack socket, 1, 2, 3, 4 pots that are kind of with a built-in knob. They actually feel alright. So these are 10k. I hope that's focusing. I can't actually see that screen from here. 10k, 10k, 10k. So they're all 10k. We've got header pins for the power and 2 IC sockets. So the very first thing I'm going to do is swap these out, because I do intend to use this with the rest of my stuff, and so I'd rather have knobs on it. So I'm going to get 4 of these 10k alpha pots that I've used on the other stuff. Sorry guys, I hope you're not offended. I'm sure, I can't see why you would be. And just to confirm that they do, I did check this earlier, but they have the same footprint as the ones that have been specified. If I can get it in. Easier said than done. There. So they do go in. They don't seem to cause any problems anywhere, and hopefully, I mean, these knobs are quite big. I'd probably use smaller ones, but just to check there's enough clearance. So yeah, look, that's going to be fine. Because also there's not going to be anything kind of on this. Well, there's going to be an output there, but that, yeah, that's plenty of clearance to use those, and especially if I put a smaller knob on. So that's what I'm going to do. There. So yeah, I'm quite excited to see what this does, because it's apparently it's 2 oscillators. One of them has it's kind of a wave table oscillator, so it has multiple waveforms, and then it's kind of has hard sync with the second oscillator. So I've heard this in action. They've used it at more than one of the. Well, they've used the prototype. I've seen them use a breadboarded prototype, and it sounded cool. So yeah, hopefully we'll get some cool stuff out of this. Right, so I need to gather my bits. So I'm gonna need some of that. One of those, and cunningly hidden, coiled under all of these wires. I really should have sorted this out before I started recording. Oh god, how... Like, I don't know if you've... I'll see if I can dig it out. Like, if you ever see, there's a photo of like, there's a famous workbench of some inventor that's been kept in a museum, and it's an absolute mess, and it makes me feel a little bit better about my stuff also being an absolute mess. So I've got this. Right, so I'm gonna clear a path. So I think we're going to do resistors first. What am I doing? What am I doing? Right, I'm going to pull up the instructions. So they have a GitHub repository which also contains the code for the microcontroller. I've not actually looked at that yet. Maybe we can have a look at that later on. So, right. So R2 is 15k. Cheers. That one, I think. Brown, red. Brown, green, black, red. What else have we got? So that doesn't have green. That doesn't have green, so it must be that one. So that's R2. So I'm just going to bend those legs over. Find it on here. As with the previous build video, there's every chance that I'm just going to stick this on like double speed, because watching me solder isn't necessarily gripping. We'll see what happens. So right, R3, which is there, is grey, red, black and brown. I thank you so much for putting the colours on your instructions, because resistor codes or resistor colours are something that I've still never kind of learnt. Well, as in, I still have to look them up and fret about it. So thank you. So again, I'm just bending the legs to 90 degrees. I'm going to screw that up a bit. So I'll just pull that one through. So I'm trying to keep this in shot. I'm trying a new setup for recording this. So I'm just kind of working out the bugs. So then R4 is 10k. That's this one. Now there is a space for another resistor, and I didn't actually think to ask why it's there. So I had a look. It seems to be. I wonder if that's space for a photoresistor or something. It's basically in series with whatever this component is, which also isn't used. and it goes from one leg of the microcontroller to, I think, ground. So it could be either a photoresistor or maybe an LED. I'll try and remember to ask. I'm going to ask now. No, I'm not, because my keyboard's down on the floor. Okay, I'm going to ask later. Right, so I've got those resistors positioned on there. So let's do some soldering. Don't use me as an example for how to learn to solder, because I'm still not great at this. But there are, in fact, I think in these instructions, in the build instructions, there's a link to a guide on soldering. I'll put that link up in the description. Like, soldering is one of those things people ask me occasionally, is it difficult? It's like, well, probably the wrong person to ask, because I'm really bad at it. Although I can make it do what I want. So, that one. That one. These solder pads are quite big compared to the stuff I've had made, which I assume must just be a like the components that you use in your CAD software. I guess specify the pad sizes for stuff. They all look okay, I think. So make sure, and then you should be able to see on the front that the solder's kind of come all the way through the pad. Not necessarily that there's a massive mounting on it on this side, but it should come through a bit. Where are my good snippy things? Still need to get one of them little delicate ones of these, because these are like big, colossal, horrible things, but they snip. The problem is they snip, but because they're quite big and imprecise, you leave a quite a lot out on this side. It's fine. It's fine. So yeah, pad sizes. Oh god, because I played this show this week, I had all of my stuff like fairly nicely laid out on my workbench. Then I had to chuck it all in a bag to go and play, so everything's a mess now. So, right, hang on, let me find. So, there, those two, I've got something I can actually point at them with. That one there, and that one there, on the Wonkystuff board. That one there, and that one, well, those two there are on one of my boards. So I guess you've just got, on their board there's more metal to solder to. I don't actually know what the implications of doing it either way are. That's an interesting observation. I know these are really basic things. A lot of you are probably thinking, well, yeah, duh, but I'm still discovering stuff like this. I just find it quite interesting. Right, so now we're going to do some capacitors. So we've got C3, which on my list on here is 100. 100 nanofarad? possibly. That's 104. Again, thank you for including the codes for these. So yeah, these just go in there, and then on the other side, if you just bend the legs out slightly, it means that when you turn it over, it kind of won't come out. So C2 is the 471. Must be that one. Just bend those out. C1 is a 102. I don't think I've ever built anything from someone else. I think this is my first one. I've just stuck to kind of my own designs for so long, so this is kind of neat. And then C4, well, there's only one left. Make sure there's no other places for them. That's on there, and again, just bend those legs out. Okay. So, just make sure I can get in. I'm not sure I did that one for long enough. Oh, that was a bit of a fuck up. Oh, I'm not supposed to swear on these. I'll bleep that out. And last one. Okay, not totally sure I got all of those right. So it's a good job. I never claimed to be amazing at soldering. I think they're okay. You know, something that's occurred to me. Oh, are they all on? No, they're not. I wonder if this is a board with more than 2 layers, because it looks different, I think. Oh no, I guess the front looks the same, but then the kind of traces on the back look like they've got the green over them, so I wonder if they're underneath there, because mine are it's just copper on top. And like I say, on the front of this, that kind of looks similar to mine, I guess. Kind of looks the same thickness, or at least to the naked eye it does. Let me get snippy with it. So yeah, that looks so presumably they're configured as a filter. Yeah, where's that coming from? From that, which is going from so that looks like maybe I think this side might be configured as a buffer amp, maybe? I'll have to check the pin out of that chip. Right, on with the show. So we've got this capacitor. So this one does have a polarity, which is marked on here. So this is C5. So positive is that way around. And let me just check the height. Okay, so that's small enough that it's not going to matter if it's stood up right. Let me see that. Like once this is mounted to a panel, that won't be a problem. Some of the ones on mine, I've got quite tall capacitors, and I've had to leave room to be able to bend them over. Just smudge that there. Yep, I think that's okay. Oh god, what if it doesn't work first time and I have to troubleshoot? That's a horrible prospect. So I'm gonna okay. I have to say I'm only looking at the component list. I'm not following the instructions, but I just want to. I just thought I'd double check I'm not doing anything wrong, and I have to say that these instructions are really comprehensive. There's photos of every stage and a description of exactly what you're doing. So, and given that these it's a low component count and there's nothing really fiddly, relatively speaking, on here, I imagine this would be a pretty good kit for a beginner. Not that I'm saying it's only suitable for beginners, but you know what I mean. I don't think there's anything that once you've at least done a little bit of soldering to get your eye in, I don't think there's anything that would cause you a problem on here. So I'm gonna fit these sockets. Am I? See what order they've done it in. They do this one. Oh, they do everything on this side and then do the back afterwards. So fair enough. So I'll fit this socket, which goes there, and I'm just going to try and bend the legs out. So I'm kind of holding it on as tight as I can. I'm just going to... that might be enough. Nope. So I'll probably do them all. Oh, that's maybe too much. I'll fix it in post. There, that's not a lot of movement though. Because otherwise when you turn it over it's just going to fall out. Which is no good. So Where's it gone? There. So the good thing about using a socket is, apart from meaning that you can easily swap the chip in and out, is that you're also not running the risk of damaging it with too much heat. So on mine I decided not to use sockets in the end, but it meant that when you're soldering the chip on, you just have to be kind of wary of not applying too much heat, and making sure you jump around on the chip so that the heat's spread out, it has time to dissipate. And they're all done. I've put a bit of a mountain of solder on one of them, but oh well, it should be fine. So next they do... I will follow the instructions. Oh no, I won't, because they did the capacitor after this. Then they do the socket. Okay, where have I put you? You can probably see it on the video. It's there. And these actually sit pretty well because they have this this kind of leg that comes out. How can we see it? This leg at the front, which is kind of sprung. It wants to go out that way, so that kind of holds it in quite nicely. This is the Thonkicon, which I've used quite a lot of now. Oh look, and actually they've put a hole in the board underneath it, which is something that I think it might be the data sheet of the Thonkicon or something. I did read something that said you should do it in case your cable is too long, because it can end up poking through onto the board. Now I found that wasn't an issue on mine. I don't have anything to hand that has one on, or do I? Yes, I do. I have one of my filters that didn't work properly that still has some of these on. See, you can see that it's flush with the board, but I found that the patch leads that I was using, and I'm casting my eye around and I can't see one. I think I've put them all away. No, there's one here. These patch leads with the kind of like this mini jack, it goes in fine and doesn't seem to push on the board, so it's like that's gone in, it's flush with that, this is flush with this. I don't know, maybe these aren't all made equal, maybe some of these are a bit longer, and yeah, it could be a real pain if you had one that was too long, so that is thoughtful. I guess I didn't do it more out of I couldn't be bothered, which one day is going to really come back and bite me. So that's gone on there. That's another one where I think the the component. So in your CAD software, when you kind of you're dragging and dropping components, so you go certainly in Eagle, you go on and you'll go into a big list of stuff and you'll find the component for a Thonkicon, and actually you have to download that from somewhere, and that basically tells the software what it looks like on the schematic, and also then the kind of the physical footprint and layout of it for when it goes onto the board, and all the dimensions, and including where to put the holes and how big the holes are. And they must have done, in fact I think I actually do know, if thinking about it, we were talking about it this week, that they use different software, and although it's a very small difference, so we're looking at these two over here, where there's two there and two here, the ones on the Wonkystuff board are a little bit closer together than mine. And so again, I'm not necessarily saying this is better or worse, it's just interesting to spot differences, given that I've never seen someone else's board before. Right, so then we're going to do the pots. Yeah, the pots, right. So these are quite good because they have these kind of legs for the support, and they kind of click in, and then that's enough to hold it while you solder it. So you just line up the three, the 3 pins, and then put the legs in. Sometimes you need to bend the legs a little bit just to get them into the right position. Make sure I've used the right ones. Yeah, so they all sit on there and they should stay on when I turn it over, which is good. I'll start from this end. I'm not sure that they've used all 3 pins on every pot, but we'll solder them anyway. I think I'm probably due a new soldering iron, because this one is, I don't know, past its prime, I think. Although then again, there's probably other stuff that I need more urgently than a new soldering iron. I need a bench power supply. I did have one that I bought. I kind of did that thing where you find a cheap one on eBay and you know it's just a knockoff straight out of some Chinese factory. And I thought, oh great, and I used it for a little while. I had it for a month or 2, and then all of a sudden it stayed switched on whether or not you had the power switch on, and I thought that's probably not good. And then I read up on it and it turns out that the this particular kind of style of ultra cheap bench power supply had a bit of a reputation for setting on fire, so yeah, I don't use that anymore. It was a shame because while I had it and while I was using it and while it was working and not on fire, it was very, very useful, and I've just not got round to buying another. It is, I guess, as with many hobbies, this is one that unfortunately requires a constant input of money to keep going. So they're. That's that, they're on. Have I got anything else for the top? No, it's time to do the bottom. So I've got a another socket, which again I'll just try and bend the legs to keep it on. If I can. No, not a sausage. That'll be fine. And then this way. So this is a bit interesting, so I'm going to have to make sure not to trash the other components with my soldering iron. So let's see how we get on. Cool. So that's that. Oh, one thing I didn't say about the sockets, it does say this in the instructions, but the socket has a little notch on the end, and the outline on the board, I don't know if you can see it under there, has the same little notch, and then your actual IC has a marking on it to tell you which way around it goes, and it's best practice to just keep them aligned correctly so that you don't brain fart later on and put it on the wrong way around. So then it's the power. Oh, so they want it that way. But that is not going to go that way because I've not been able to trim that down enough. Okay. I must have some other tools that I can do this with. See if this one will get it any closer. Yeah, it does actually. That's not bad. So let's try that. So that's going to go on that way around. You know what, chaps? I might just do it. Ah, see, that hangs over the edge. So if it's on there, that's gonna go on like that. So I need that one trimming and that one. Possibly that one, but we'll see. So that's gonna go in. So that will go in. Okay, we'll go with it. We'll see what happens. I'm not actually going to use this battery clip probably past the initial testing, and that's even if I can find it. In fact, I might not even be using it at all. See what happens. So yeah, I mean that seems to stay on. So let's just solder it. And they have helpfully clearly marked which side is power, and therefore we know which side is for ground. Is that the same way around as how I do it? Because that would be really useful. Yes, it is. Oh, but because of the way I do my cables, that ain't right. Okay, I need to go and try and find some AAA batteries, so I will be right back. Right, no batteries, but I've got a solution. I've also just realised that I missed a bit. I've not put the bloody chips in yet. So they're sellotaped in. I'll give it a few goes and then I'll just grab a knife. So do this without lacerating myself, that'd be lovely. So yeah, I guess it's in this little container just to kind of keep them safe. Get it off. Right, so what have we got? How do we get them out of here? Do we just push them out? We just push them out. Okie dokie, so make sure I get this right. So that is the op amp, and that was on the top. So it's got a little, it's kind of got a little notch out at the end that you can maybe see. And you just make sure that's aligned with the notch on the socket. You kind of have to bend the legs a little bit, and that should just push in. Yeah. And yep, that's in. The same on the other one. That one only has a little, in this corner, there's a little kind of, little dimple. So you know which way around that needs to be. Let me just sanity check on their instructions that I've put that the right way around. Yes, I have. Good. Okay, so this is ready to go. What I haven't done and what I should have done is get me software sorted. While that's loading up, there we go. Right. So what I've got is like a USB USB out power thing that puts out 5 volts. I checked the data sheet and the microcontroller is good up to 5.5, so this should be okay, he says. We'll find out, I guess, when I do it. That might not be okay to go on there. This is the thing I use for my other stuff. So if I can bend those wires around, let's see if that will go on there. Yeah, like a glove. So that should be ready for me to plug it in and get some power. No, it shouldn't, because I've not actually plugged this into the breakout. So plug that in. So there's no power light or anything, so I'm not going to know until I get sound. So I'm going to let's see. Okay. Just make sure this is set up to record. So, oh no, that was nearly a dreadful error. Try this. Yeah, something. Okay. So I'm just making sure the signal coming through when I do that, and I can see it on the screen that there is. So I'm going to plug that in. I'm going to put my earphones in, and I hope that the cable doesn't trail too much across the recording. And then I'm going to get some power. Oh, it did say that before you do it for the first time to turn all of these, I think, anti-clockwise. So I will. Here we go. Oh, that's something. So I wonder, I don't know if that's intentional. Like the sound is moving around quite a lot. That doesn't seem to be doing anything. let's just reset it. Right. So to the instructions, let's see what's it supposed to do. So that's the frequency of oscillator 1, which it is. 3 is oscillator 2, so that is giving it a kind of sync. There it says at the top. Oh, okay. So that makes the waveform change randomly. Right. There we go. Okay, so this could be down to the pot that I've used. But when this is at the bottom, it seems to wrap around to almost a higher value. So, right, okay, I've got it. This selects the waveform. Okay, which it does, we can hear it doing that. And so that should be sine and triangle, triangle, triangle and square, square, square and sawtooth, sawtooth, and then sawtooth and sine. So that should just be sine. Maybe? Maybe these instructions aren't the order that they're in. Oh, hang on. No, does it start from the other way? Sine and triangle. No, sine. Sine and triangle. Triangle. Triangle and square. Square. Square and sawtooth, sawtooth. That makes more sense. I think I've just got these the wrong way around. Then this one basically makes them change randomly. And this sets the speed at which they change. So up here they go quite fast until eventually there's none somewhere. But then if I turn it all the way down, so I wonder if that's a fault in this potentiometer, because it's only using these two pins. So I think when it's at that end should be when it's at its highest resistance. So maybe there's a manufacturing fault in that pot. Do I dare desolder that and put another one in? That's the question. Yeah, I might have a go at that. So for now, if I leave it on 0. So then we've got the pitch of oscillator 1. Is on that one. And then the pitch of oscillator 2 is on this one, and this is set to hard sync with oscillator 1. So that's neat. Kind of harmonic overtones. So there are kind of potential dead spots. But that does sound really cool. I'd be interested to see if that rate could go higher. So I guess this is where you look at the software, because presumably there's just a value range that can go to. Yeah, and it sounds like that is properly random, or at least kind of, if it might be like pseudo-random, but it's random enough to sound random, if that makes sense. Another interesting mod to look at would be if you can configure it to basically accept a clock input to switch oscillators, which I bet you could. Yeah, because I'm guessing there'll be some kind of loop happening in the code where it says wait for a certain amount of time and then change. Instead, you could set that up to say wait, and then the length of time is set by the voltage on this pot. but maybe you could say wait for a signal above, I don't know, 4 volts or whatever, swap this for an input, rewrite the code a bit, maybe sync it up with other equipment. Really intrigued to know what that was for. But this is cool. I like this. It's so I don't think I'm giving away any trade secrets, because this was just for sale on the merch stall for 20 quid at the gig. So it's not like this wasn't mates rates or anything. And for a 20 quid drone machine, like, so you're looking at you're basically looking at Atari Punk consoles and that kind of thing, and this is and this does more than one of those. I will try replacing this pot and see what happens. Screw it, I'll do this now. Otherwise I'll never do it. So I'm just going to try and desolder this pot. Using my solder sucker. So you basically just heat it up so the solder melts, and this thing just creates a little vacuum. It's just like it's a spring-loaded. There's a thing there. Oops. There's a thing there, and you press the button, and it goes back up inside, and then you have to kind of reset it. So. Where's my little spudging tool? I swear I tidied my desk relatively recently, and now I can't find anything. I'll just use that. Make sure these are actually desoldered. Maybe. Not even close. This is another one of those things that I've still not quite got the knack of doing this. Oops. Well, that's just added more solder. Right, so that's that one off. Just make sure that these pads are clean to a given value of clean, I guess. I suppose the important thing is that there's nothing on them that's going to interfere electrically. Dig out another one. yeah, I figure it's unfair to leave a question mark over this when it's perfectly possible that it's just the stuff that I've used. And it's also worth pointing out that it was these are the pots that these weren't the pots that were supplied with it. These were the ones that I decided to use. So it could well be that this issue is on me for using components that haven't been tested with it. Okay, so get rid of all that, get that back on here. Yeah, I'm going to have to figure out the best way to sort my cables out. That's fine, I can do that. I may end up replacing those header pins actually. So do that. I find me this again. Make sure my software's recording. Well, not from the beginning though. From there. Go. Put my earphones in. It wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't just do stuff in an unplanned rage. Okay, earphones in. Power on. Power on. Oh no, that's my bad. It's not. Where are you? Yeah. Okay. Had not plugged them in. Power on. So same again. Oh well, that was worth doing. I won't wonder about it now. But there it is. I'm gonna unplug that. I'm gonna unplug that. So yeah, my idea for this now, I do actually want to do some kind of, I guess, not mods because I'm not going to modify this, but I'm going to make, I guess, like a daughter board. Because this is running at 5 volts, so I don't really want to run it into. Sorry, I was just seeing if I could get that power thing off, and I can't. Let's just sort that. It's got a little arm on it to kind of keep it on there, which is good, but it meant I couldn't get it off. So yeah, I'm going to try and make some kind of like daughter board with a 5 volt regulator, meaning that I can use everything else I've got is at 9 volts at the minute. So if I can stick a regulator on there, that'll mean I can just use my current power setup with it. And then I think I want to do either 1 or 2 Vactrols, depending on whether I do modify this to use a clock input, because I think I'd have to look into how you program these chips. I think you either need a special gadget, or you can apparently program it using an Arduino. So I'll have to look into that and maybe look at the code, see if I want to attempt a mod. But even as it is, I think I might use a Vactrol to allow this 4.5 volt output to modulate a 9 volt signal, and then I can use this as a voltage source for my other stuff without worrying about damaging this, because that'd be quite cool, because like my oscillators have pitch control, voltage control pitch, so chucking the output of this into one of them could be really cool. So I'll see how I get on with that. Yeah, that is a cool bit of kit. So I don't actually know that they are available online. I couldn't find anything on their site immediately, or at least at a glance I couldn't. So maybe if you're interested in getting your hands on one, maybe drop them a line. Wonkystuff. I'll put links and whatnot on the description. And the other thing, I said this at the beginning, but just to stress again, it does say it's a prototype. So yeah, considering that this is just a prototype, or especially considering this is just a prototype, good work. Yeah. So that was actually quite fun. Give me a shout if you design noise synths or little audio devices and want me to do a video on one. Give me a shout. We can maybe do a swap of boards, or if you're happy to just send me one, that'd be great. I'll do a video about it. Yeah, I've got a long day of soldering ahead of me.